Well, I test fired the gun, and unfortunately I didn't record it, but it was too powerful. You can see right here, it put a dent in my steel garage door. A foam dart put a dent in my steel garage door. You can see that up close, without my shadow getting in the way. Amazing. I had no idea a foam dart would dent a steel garage door. The StuG had a 75mm gun, and at 40% scale, that's 30 millimeters. So the closest PVC pipe is 1 1/4 inch. But I did some research, and the largest Nerf dart they make, it's called this Mega XL. And online I read that this has a 30mm diameter. Perfect. Okay, so here's how the gun works. There's other videos about this. This isn't my idea, but this is a 1-inch sprinkler valve with some slight modifications. It comes with an electric solenoid here, but it opens too slow. So with a couple modifications, you can get it to open really fast. You can see I drilled out that hole for the electric solenoid and then tapped it for a 1/4 inch pipe and epoxied it just to make sure it's in there really strong. And then there's a little, I don't remember, some kind of bleed screw here. You got to fill that with epoxy. And then inside the valve itself, there's a hole here you got to fill with epoxy. I don't know if you can see it in the light, but there's a hole down here you fill with epoxy, and then you're all set. And the way this works is, this is the high pressure side, and there's a tube that passes between the top and the bottom of this piston. And so when everything's static, the pressure on the top and the bottom of the piston is the same, but there's a spring that holds it shut. And then this air line on the top, if you just vent that off, then there's whatever, 60 PSI, whatever you got in your storage cylinder on the bottom, but nothing on the top, so it slams that piston open really fast. And so it works to fire. Water balloons is what I did in my Sherman. This is going to be Nerf darts. So now for the trigger, a lot of people just use a blow-off gun. You can put your supply air here, and when you push this trigger, it dumps the air out and fires the sprinkler valve. But I found this one. It's a bit more compact, and it just has a smaller button. You just got to put a plug on the one end. And here's my handle. I cut out this notch, and it's tight fit. I'll fill it in with some epoxy just to make sure it doesn't move, but there we go. Now I got a thumb switch to fire the cannon. Okay, I'm getting ready to weld the handlebar for the cannon, and I sat inside the StuG and felt what's the most comfortable position for my hands, what's most ergonomic, and actually it was with my hands tilted back 45 degrees from vertical, because you're almost laying down flat in there, and then tilted in about 20 degrees. So I got this rigged up. Fortunately, 45 degrees is easy. I got these 45-degree magnets, and then I just, in this plane, rotated them 20 degrees, and I'm getting ready to weld this together. Okay, there it is after welding. I'm welding a 1/4 inch thick bar to a tube that's like a 1/16 of an inch thick, so it's tricky not to burn through. I started the weld in the bar and just quickly pushed the puddle out into the tube and managed to not burn through on both of those, so we're good to go. I got all my PVC glued. Now I just need to screw together the screw joints, so bear with me while I do that. And now, in a real StuG, this armored cover here is to fit, there's two cylinders that absorb the recoil above the gun. That's why this is shaped the way it is. So that's where I'm going to fit, though, this pipe and sprinkler valve is going to go inside that cavity. Breech and handles over here. There we go. The way this gun works is I'll run a air line here, and that'll charge this tube that makes a U-turn and comes to the input side of the sprinkler valve. And then the air pressure line to release the pressure will go from here to this trigger. So when you push that button, it will open up the sprinkler valve, and then all the air stored in here will come rush down into the breech. There's this T fitting here, and push the dart. And then here's my breech block. Just a vertical toggle clamp. And I glued a sheet of rubber pad on the bottom of this, so it seals with the breech of the barrel. And the only other thing I got to do is make a clamp to keep the gun from rotating inside the mantlet here and pushing in and out. I did find just a stroke of luck. This spring was came with my fans for like a big clip, and it's just about perfect for balancing the gun. There'll be a little bit more here with the airline being attached, so maybe it'll balance a little better, or I can adjust this if I need to, but that worked out pretty good. That was just kind of luck. I was going to add counterweights, but I had this spring and it was the exact right size and about the right amount of spring force. A few more finishing touches. I added this to limit the downward angle. The StuG's supposed to have a -6 degrees of gun depression, so that'll stop it at -6. And the elevation is limited to 20 by the gun tube hitting the front bulkhead of the hull. And then these are to limit the traverse left and right. It's supposed to have 10 degrees left and right, so I'll adjust these until I get the 10 degrees of travel. Spring's working pretty good. Okay, this is a compressor I bought for about $12. Really cheap, and I got this one because it has you can set a pressure where it shuts off automatically. So we'll see if this works. I can run this off of my 12-volt power line, on-off switch, and I can program it to whatever pressure I want to set, so I can control the power that I'm charging the gun with. The largest Nerf dart they make, it's called this Mega XL, and online I read that this has a 30mm diameter. Perfect. So I ordered those, and a 1 1/4 inch PVC is about 35mm. It's too big, so I got this 30mm tube, thinking I'll sleeve my PVC pipe with that, and it's perfect. Problem is, these aren't 30mm, they're about 31. This will go in there, but it's really tight. Right there, I can't even push it in any farther, it's stuck. So, and if I put it in this gun, it's too loose. So I took the dart and wrapped a Velcro strip around it to make up that extra 5mm of thickness. So now this goes in. You just got to push it in past the T. Close the breech. Let's try it out. Okay, prominent feature on the StuG and most German tanks, in fact, is the muzzle brake. So here's how I'm going to make that. This is the 1 1/4 inch PVC gun tube. This is a 1 1/4 inch coupler, a 2-inch coupler, and this is a 1x6 that I cut into a cone. and I got a little bit more shaping to do, but I didn't go overboard because I'll show you in a second. So that's a 2x6, and this is a 1x6 that I cut into a cone as well, with a 31-degree slope on there. And so this coupler will go here, and I got to grind out the little step in the middle because this gun tube will go all the way through the whole thing. But then this cone, and this cone, and this coupler on the end, and like I said, I'll have that gun tube go all the way through to hold it all together. And then this piece is a little too long. I'll cut that down and make it a little shorter. And this part has a cutout, and this part has a cutout where the vents go through. So that kind of, I crossed out where I need to cut out. So I'll do that next, and then put it together. Well, here's the muzzle brake glued together after I cut the spaces out. The next thing I got to do is, this should be rounded, so I got to sand a rounded edge on this outer edge, and these interior corners should be filleted, so I got to add some filler there. The way I put it together, I couldn't add that radius on these corners, so I'll use some wood filler and put a radius there, and then just fits on the end of the gun. I got a little screw here to lock it on.
Before you tell me my muzzle brake's wrong, here's a reference I found from a modeling website. These are the different muzzle brakes that were used on the 7.5 centimeter Pack 40, and so there's quite a bit different variation depending on what year. So I'm going for this this early one that says StuG 40 Aus G early. So that second one from the top is the one I'm trying to replicate. So you can see I got some more sanding to do to round the edges a little bit, but that's what we're going for.
Well, here's everything installed. So here's my button to fire it. So you close the breech, open the breech, and this is the air hose that's running back to the compressor. I'll make an ammo rack. It'll look a little bit nicer than that. I did run into one issue, which is the compressor is mounted back here, and you can program a pressure that it automatically shuts off, but the problem is you gotta charged at 24 psi, and then when you shoot the gun it goes to 0, but you have to toggle the switch off and on again to get it to recharge the cylinder. So I thought it would recharge automatically, but it doesn't. So when I fire the gun, ideally it would kick on right now and be recharging the cylinder while I'm loading a new round. So I'm gonna have to add a switch. I found a momentary switch I can add to this handle so that when you press it, it'll reset the air compressor. So that'll be one minor tweak I gotta make. But otherwise, the other issue I've got is the gun shoots kind of inconsistent with wrapping the felt tape around there. I'll do some experiments with some different types of tape to fill that gap around the foam dart so that it shoots consistently. But it'll shoot a long way, about 80 feet. So I'll post another update after I figure out what's the best way to get that dart to work in the 1 1/4 inch PVC pipe. Turn right. Turn right. You're hitting the curb. There you go.